Hey guys, I just shot a video explaining that over there at Waterstones, a bookstore here in the West End of London, was where I met Paul McCartney. Now, I'm not sure exactly where it is, so I'm going to try to find it right now, and I'm sure I'll figure it out. But coincidentally, where I met Paul McCartney 26 years ago is actually just a couple blocks away, just a very short distance away from 3 Savile Row, which was the Beatles' headquarters in the late 60s and early 70s, and is immortalized in Beatles mythology because it's where they performed together for the last time. Now, this is something I knew when I lived here in 2000, but when I would go and visit it, it was very nondescript. There's nothing going on, so you'd like blink and you'll miss it, kind of thing. But interestingly enough, like an incredible coincidence, yesterday when I arrived, I heard in the news that they've just announced, yesterday, that the Beatles I think they've purchased that property. They sold it back in the 70s, if I'm understanding all of this correctly, and they've repurchased it so that starting next year, 3 Savile Row will actually be like a museum, like a tourist destination. So after, like almost 60 years, like coming up on 60 years since they broke up, since that performance in 1969, they're now going to turn this building into a museum where you can actually go on the rooftop. So I thought, wow, this is like an incredible opportunity to come down here and show it to you guys. I'm sure this is going to be of great interest to many Beatles fans around the world, and probably this will be like an absolute given. The Beatles fans visiting London, this will become maybe the main place that they'll come and visit. In fact, I think I read on the Beatles website that Paul McCartney was talking about how for many people that are fans of the Beatles that come to London, they of course go to Abbey Road, and they can't really go inside there, so they're generally just like outside posing on the crosswalk and all that. So there's a thought that this might actually become the main destination moving forward. Now, the other factor here is the documentary, the Peter Jackson documentary that came out on Disney, I think it was in 2021, called Get Back, which took all the footage from the Let It Be film and put it back together in a new form. And I think this really did a lot to popularize this spot here. I think that before that documentary in 2021, Beatles fans knew about this location. In fact, right now I wonder whether these guys are fans. This is it right here. And this was not here last time. That plaque up there. I don't know if you can read it. It says the Beatles played their last live performance on this roof, 30th of January, 1969. So this is the main door. You can see people writing on it. And they've installed like a lift here, but there used to be stairs that would go down there. And if you've seen that documentary or footage of this period, you know that it was down those stairs led to the recording studio in the basement. I'm just going to back up now so we can actually get a better view of the whole thing. There's some construction going on, so I'm hoping that's not going to drown me out too much. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa. But yes, that documentary that came out in 2021, I think it did a lot to popularize this spot. It's actually quite amazing just to see it in the context of just any other city street. Because if you didn't know, like I said before, you just walk right past it. But if you're a huge Beatles fan, or if you've seen that documentary, you're like acutely aware of the significance of this spot as far as the rooftop performance, but also the music that was recorded in that basement. And there's just something about the enormity of the music for a fan. You know, just how legendary the music is. We're talking about the Let It Be album. To think that, you know, music that can make such an impression on millions, I mean, starting with the song Let It Be. I mean, just take the song Let It Be alone. I've seen firsthand as I go around the world how much that song means to everywhere I've gone, to Filipinos, to Japanese people, to British people, to French people. Everywhere that I've gone, I hear that song performed and people connected to it deeply. That song was basically developed and recorded down here, in a room down there. Such an unassuming little building. Absolutely amazing. So like I say, apparently in 2027, so maybe like a year from now when I'm shooting this in May of 2026, this will become a popular spot. I think I'm going the wrong way if I'm going towards the sound of that drilling. So I think I'll head this way instead. Of course, there's that famous moment in the documentary when they're playing on the roof and the police come to shut them down, knock on this door, trying to be let inside, and ultimately go inside and go up to the roof. But everybody working was kind of running defense, vaguely, almost like obstructing the police from going inside. So this is actually not too different from my experience when I first came here in 2000, where it was like mind-blowing for me to come to this spot. But looking around, it didn't really seem like anybody knew or cared about its history. With Piccadilly Circus just being a short, like 3-minute walk away, I think I might have expected that there would have been a lot of tourists coming over here. But next year is the year. Now I know. Yesterday when I'm considering, you know, when I arrived yesterday, I'm considering which videos I might want to shoot. Oops, wrong button. Just trying to pitch this up so you can see better. Yesterday when I'm considering which videos I might want to shoot and I might want to come over here and then see on my phone that this will be a museum, blew my mind. Couldn't believe that. After almost 60 years, yesterday is the day it's announced that this will be a museum. I have no doubt. I think the most mind-blowing thing about that is I really have no doubt that this museum could be here for 100 years, you know? Who knows? It could be short-lived. They could just do it for a few years and for some reason it doesn't persist. But the legend of the Beatles only grows. And therefore, I think it's really likely that for decades and decades, people from around the world will come to this spot and will kind of like celebrate their love for the music by specifically walking through the halls of this building, checking out memorabilia, and then ultimately going on the roof. And probably in the future, there'll be some sort of like hologram experience now that I think about it. You know, already that's possible, I guess, but in like 10, 20, 50 years, probably you'll like go up and you'll have some sort of experience of like jamming with the Beatles on the roof or something. Anyway, this is something I knew I wanted to come check out again, and all the more because of this news. So this is 3 Savile Row. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.